You are being programmed.
The realm of L11 part 2. In this I want to go a lot deeper. Something caught my eye from the first video. I want to look at circuit boards and electric symbols and how that correlates to the theory of L11. I want to talk about how we are the doors. This is an electric symbol, I'll get into this. I want to look at cymatics because I believe this has a lot to do with it, together with obviously frequencies and harmonics. I want to go and look at this. So all this good stuff is going to be in this video. It's going to be very deep. I also want to look at some etymologies and look at some words. There's a lot of theories and talks about churches and organs and they're for healing. But what if churches were not for healing but for something far more nefarious? So I'm going to look at that. It reminded me of the name HARMonies. So I want to look at this. I want to look at the pineal gland and the mind and the temples, the two hemispheres. So there's a lot in this where it's not specifically showing you all 11s, but it's really, really deep. Now I want to ask an important question. Could it all be about the battle of the wills? Now, in regard to this, I made the circuit board video a long time ago and people were telling me this symbol is in regard to the Green Lantern, and I got reminded last week and it just hit home because I really honestly totally forgot about it. So I'm going to be talking about how it's a battle of the wills. You're just going to be blown away. So guys, buckle up, or as this says, buckle up buckaroos. We're going in. So, I had a light bulb moment. Some will say not enough. But what does light bulb moment mean? A moment of sudden realization, enlightenment, or inspiration. And I had this when I was watching the premiere back with you guys. And it was a start of symbols from my book that got me thinking. The cross, the sign of the cross, is God and earth are combined and are in harmony. From two simple lines, a complete sign has been evolved. The cross is by far the earliest of all signs and is found everywhere, quite apart from the conception of Christianity. It's talking about when we're in harmony with God, we're a cross, or is it a plus, or is it a positive? It's got to remind me of electrical symbols and cymatics. So the next symbol had a circle round the cross and it says, as the male equivalent pervades the female, so creation takes place, since everything belonging to the living world is compounded at the confluence of male and female. In remote ages in the East and also in early northern mythology, this sign of the wheel, also the wheel, the cross, was a symbol of the sun. Now just look, it looks like cymatics. Now cymatics is the study of visible sound vibration and shows the transformational nature of sound and matter. They're both identical if you look. It is to me anyway. Is this talking about how both male and female are both in harmony with God, the creator, is a circle in the cross? Now I was just talking about the light bulb moment, which could be enlightenment, the Gnosticism. Well, isn't it a coincidence or not that the symbol for a light bulb in electronics, electrical, is a circle with a cross? Now tell me, the light bulb moment is the same symbol as I'm just showing you, just slightly turned to one angle. It can't be, can it? I hate seeing that word now, coincidence, but surely. And that symbol reminded me so much of Trivial Pursuit, the game of knowledge. Gnosis, light, the light bulb moment, inspiration, knowledge. Cymatics, frequencies, all in our face with that one symbol. It's like male and female in harmony with earth and God together. So I thought I'd put them all together so you can just see how alike they are. The new one that you see in the bottom left is just a cymatics, like a cross. So we have God the creator in harmony with the earth as the plus, the cross at the top. You then add what I'm saying of female, male in harmony with the creator as the circle. And you've seen cymatics reproduce those patterns. We know everything is sound, frequency and vibration. You know I've been telling you about Janus being the janitor. He's the holder of the frequency keys. It's always in our face and it's always showing you. Now this is what I want to get into in this video. There's just so much. So you're talking about the light bulb moment and on how that is similar to what I've already showed you. The symbol for Earth is the same as what I've showed you. And you can even go to the Celtic cross or Odin's cross. Again, all similar. So this is just what we want to get out in this video. And think about it. What is the basic form of knowledge? They say 101. Well, look. The light bulb. The earth symbol. And what I've mentioned so far. If you take the cross and separate them and put them either side of the circle, you get 101 basic knowledge. Now guys, you just saw me talk about these symbols so far. What symbol, if you merge both these together, does it actually create? And this wowed me and all, whether it's a simple mind today, it just blew me away. So in a minute, I want you to think, I'll give you a few seconds on when you merge these two symbols together and what they represent, what I've told you so far, what symbol do they make? Right, go. So you've got a few seconds now. Right guys, here's what symbol it creates. Are you blown away? It's the Coptic cross. Obviously that's tied to Gnostic too, but that just blew me away. So both of them symbols I've been talking about, if you put it on top of each other, you create the Coptic cross. That's just wow. So some more symbols that I touched on in the last video. The circle being without beginning or end is also a sign of God or eternity. Moreover or over in contrast with the next sign, it's a symbol of the sleeping eye of God, the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. The next is, on the right, is the vertical stroke, representing the oneness of God or the Godhead in general. It also symbolizes power descending upon mankind from above or in the opposite direction, the yearning of mankind towards higher things. So it's like what people call about a download from God, source. But what's intriguing is, and as you saw in this video, I'm also showing you the connection between these symbols, learning, knowledge, Gnosticism, L11, and also electrical signs, because it's all connected. Now, those coming from source, if you look from above, the one from above would be the Godhead or circumpunct, the open eye of God. The pure pose of revelation, and God said, let there be light. So as you can see, if that one was looking down from above inside the circle, it would represent the Godhead, which is many things, gold, etc. Now, in electrical terms, look what I found now. It's talking about the current towards you and the current away from you. So obviously in electrical terms, I'm no electrical engineer by the way, but it's just what I've been reading. The flow of electric is basically used by an arrow, and you could say the circle is the wire, like a fibre optic. So when the current is coming towards you, it is the Godhead or the circumpunct on the left, or some people could say the bullseye. So when people talk about in the community, oh, I've had a download, is this when we're directly downloading from source, which would be the current towards you. And when the flow of electric or your thoughts are getting processed into a spell and moving away from you, it is the light bulb moment or the earth symbol on the side. You can see what I'm talking about, how the current away from you. So all those things I've talked about so far, I'm just trying to find electrical symbols to match in regard to Gnosticism, knowledge, basically what's the same thing, and all the things I've talked about in the realm of L11. It's just intriguing, isn't it, that we're talking about the current towards you, and it's a Godhead, it's source, and the current away from you is the cross. It's just mind-blowing, and hopefully you can see what I'm trying to get at in this. I'll get back to more electrical symbols and different things later, but I want to concentrate now on this, that symbol that is associated with the Green Lantern. Now let's read out the Green Lantern saying, "In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light." Now, a lot of people have been reaching out, telling me about this a long time ago. And then again last week on the 11 video because of the Freemasons symbol for St. John, knowledge, Gnosticism, etc., etc., on how the symbol is identical to this, which is. Now I'm going to show you this and then delve into it a little bit deeper on why it's significant. So as you can see, there's a symbol on the left and the Green Lantern symbol on the right. Now let's swap it over so it's the same side, and it's identical. There's no way around it. The only thing that is missing is the dot. Now that could represent something, but to me it's a mind blow when you think about it, and I'm going to delve into this a little bit deeper because of the Green Lanterns. Obviously the Green Lanterns, I know there's yellow, red and so on, but the Green Lanterns power, what they use is will and willpower. So this is what I want to get into now. So what is willpower? The strength of will to carry out one's decisions, wishes or plans. The ability to control oneself and determine one's actions. Firmness of will. The traits of resolutely controlling your own behaviour. So it's very important is your willpower, your inner strength. Hence why the evil are trying to overpower and break your willpower with lockdowns and remember the world being closed. And what I found ironic was that I found an image, a picture saying the world is temporarily closed, and have a look what's above the world, the Masonic symbol. I just thought that was so ironic and I had to include in this. It's not like the Green Lanterns, the Masons have rings to symbolise their power. No, they don't have that, do they? People talk about, are we batteries to the systems, to the matrix, to the AI? Now I believe willpower is a key part of this because it helps protect you and I. I've done many videos on the circuit boards and shown you how arches act like transistors and gates, and I'll get into that at the end of this bit because I'll just show you a clip from an old video. But this is why arches around this realm are all left up, because they're there to control the data. Remember, data is da'at, knowledge, Gnosticism in Hebrew. So I'll get on to what I'm showing you about NOT gates and transistors at the end of this. But it just got me thinking, if you've ever watched a Green Lantern, his force is green, and with the aid of the ring it protects him. It puts like a force field around him, and his imagination is boundless. That's how he gets the power. Whatever he wants to think, his willpower, you can actually create anything. That got me to thinking about obviously the batteries and the green, because when you look at most batteries and when they charge or they go down, what colour are they? It is on mine, it's green, and when it goes to red obviously it's near empty. But that got me thinking about that and mind control, indoctrination. Is it the fact that our willpower acts as a protector or a helmet, just like Magneto's? Remember, he wears a helmet, so the professor cannot use his mind control techniques against him. So think about it. Is our willpower, our inner strength, a protector or a helmet? Then I found this, and this just wow. So you know me, guys. The wow is the etymology of willpower and will. It means will, desire, helmet or protection. Wow comes from the Old English will, willa, mind, determination, purpose, desire, wish, request, joy, delight, from Proto-Germanic wiljon. And obviously you can see at the bottom the name is derived from the Germanic words will, meaning will, desire, and helm, meaning helmet, protection. Just wow. Your willpower is what protects you from mind control. It's your inner strength. Isn't that a wow? And that just blew me away. So what was basically leading up to this is spot on. Your willpower is a control of wills. They are trying to basically break you down to break your will. And that is why people who see the world for what it really is, the willpower, the inner strength is stronger than the people who are basically getting indoctrinated. That to me is just wow. The fight coming is not a battle of weapons, just a battle of wills. Janet Morris. So there you go, that just speaks highly of what I've just been saying. Because I've seen so much similarities between the Masons and the Green Lanterns, it got me thinking. Well, as you know, the Green Lantern's corps is an interstellar police force that protects the universe. So it got me thinking, is there an equivalent? Did they get the idea from Freemasonry? Well, in Freemasonry, green is directly associated with the idea of resurrection and immortality. I mean, it's not like green is 11 in gematria, is it? So that's a significant colour. Now, there is an honorary green degrees of Freemasonry for something called the Knight Masons. Then I found the Illus Coens, which means elect priests. Now, there's not much known of these. And their full name is the Order of the Knight Masons, Illus Coens of the Universe. So it does remind me of the Knights Corps. Now, the Order of the Illus Coens teach an advanced form of ceremonial magic. The Illus Coens were spiritually warriors engaged in magical combat with angelic and demonic entities. So it's roughly similar. You can see where they got the idea from, I believe. It said that they had rights that would help them to enter into relations with angels who were sympathetic to men's fallen state and aid them in their fight against demonic forces. So it's intriguing, isn't it? They believed this knowledge was entrusted by God to Adam, secretly transmitted through the generations. So it does get you going like, really intriguing. Now, initiates were taught the secret hieroglyphs of the spirits, their signature basically, which is Cymatics. It's said they disappeared roughly in the 18th century and, went into other Masonic orders. Now, this is a book of an ancient manuscript that is, just not long come out. Look at the colour. And it's full of all the hieroglyphs and things that I'm talking about. But it has a name for the book. And this is what ties it all in. A Treasure of Coen Texts, Volume 1, The Green Book of the Illus Coens. It just had to be that colour, didn't it? I'm going to look into this more further when I can get a chance. Now, you ever notice most motherboards / circuit boards are green? And here's just an example now, so that you can see it on the screen. Now, motherboard equates to 11 in gematria. Just a coincidence there. Now, they said it was green because of the soldering techniques back in the 70s. It's what's known as solder mask. It's not like that's 11 either in gematria. I want to finish this section on this bit because they can say electric is green. The electricity produced from renewable energy such as sources like solar, wind, hydro, etc. is known as green electricity. It's funny that they're using the word green. Right guys, here's the clip I was talking about before. Here goes. And then one day I accidentally landed on logic gates. And as you can see, there's different types of gates in a circuit system. OR, NOR, AND, NAND, XOR, XNOR, buffer and NOT. And what these logic gates actually do, I'm going to read that out now, but just picture these as archways. So, what is a logic gate? Logic gates are found in our computers. They are electronic devices used to control the flow of data, which is us, remember. When data passes through a logic gate, like an archway or a doorway when we walk through and under them, it changes its state. It's like influence, it amplifies. This change depends on the input into the logic gates. Many logic gates could be joined together to form a logic circuit. The function of this circuit is more complicated than a single logic gate. So picture archways all around this circuit board, motherboard, and we always have an influential archway in most towns or cities. We'll see them. I'll show some images after this of archways around this realm. Obviously, who is the god of archways and transitions and the flow. Yes, Janus. So this is why I researched this in regard to gates, and then I stumbled upon logic gates, and just here it's controlling the flow, it's influencing, it's when data passes through, it changes its state. So imagine all these gateways, these portals, or as we know, logic gates around this realm, where they're all situated in cities. It's like the flow of the circuits go through these gates. So it's influencing, it's controlling. What is it doing? Is it changing our state, our thought process? Is it controlling the population? Is it what's influencing the population by amplification of what is going and being pumped into these logic gates? It just gets you really, really thinking. And I know it's deep, but my mind's just blown, and I'm really excited about this video and its contents. I just hope you guys are enjoying it too, like I am. So, staying on the electrical. Humans are electric, we can all agree on that, and anything electrical will produce an EMF, which is an electromagnetic field. Some people will call them torus fields or toroidal fields. Well, what's tor? Tor is door or gate. When I always show people this, who's the god of doorways? And it goes silent, it goes crickets. But let's go a little bit deeper and look at our cells. I mean, our cells are specialised basically to conduct electrical currents. So that got me thinking then, because I did an old video on it, are we living in prison or paradise? And you think about it, human cells have doors. Now, not just prison doors as I'm showing in there as, as an example. But researchers show how cells open doors to release neurotransmitters. A schematic model of the fusion port opening, like opening a door to exit a room. Cells in the body open up the outer membranes to release such chemicals as neurotransmitters and other hormones. This got me wow, because when I'm talking about doors a lot, even our cells have doors. And here's the example that they're showing for that. It's 11s. Who's the god of doorways and transitions? So this is really deep and also spiritual, but I'm also showing you that we are electric and our cells have doors. That just blew me away, and it goes even deeper, because obviously I'm tying it to electrical symbols and circuit board theory that people talk about a lot, don't we? Well, what's this on the screen now? I wouldn't have been able to tell you the specific name. I knew what it was by looking at it. But this is a capacitor. Now you might be thinking, what is a capacitor? A capacitor is a device that stores electrical energy in an electric field, and it is a passive electronic component with two terminals. And when I read that, I automatically thought, that does not sound like us. Obviously, the two main electrical components in us is the brain and the heart, and they both produce an electric current. And I'm like, wow. And also our cells have doors. Janus is also known as terminus. So I thought, you know what, let me have a look at the symbol for a capacitor. You know, the electrical symbol. And I was absolutely just struck down. Because what's the video about? It's the realm of L11 part 2. And I'm specifically talking about obviously the doors and circuits and 11. And just now, have a look at the symbol for a capacitor. Tell me that is not wow. I mean, some of us will see different things, but basically I see like 11, a doorway, a pathway. It's like the door is open. It's like, on the horizon, it's two pillars. It's the L11. So I've just showed you how an electric and the currents and a capacitor and humans could, because like I said, it's just my theory, and I'm just looking at a bit of a what if. Are they not one in the same? And I've showed you our cells have doors, and something else that stores electric is a capacitor. That's positive and negative, just like us. And it's also an 11. Is that not a wow? Lift up your heads, O you gates. Lift up, you everlasting doors, and the King of Glory should come in. who is the King of the glory? The Lord of hosts, he is the King of glory. So it just makes me go, when I read all this. Is this talking about the individual cells? Or is this talking about the pineal gland, which is another door and is in between the two temples? I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. Revelation 3:8 adds to 11. Janus is the occult name for the pineal if you freeze it. It's in between the two hemispheres. Is this that open door, or is it the individual cells? It's something to think on, or is it both? That's just to get you thinking, Anna. So Jesus again said to them, truly, truly, I say to you, I am the door of the sheep. John 10:7. So it's a lot of talking of doors. And now you've individual cells, the pineal gland, all have doors. So it just makes you think, doesn't it? Here I am. I stand at the door and knock. And if anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with that person and they with me. Is this talking about cymatics, frequencies, vibration? Knocking, obviously, is a frequency, a sound, and obviously the voice, the power of the vocal cords. I've already showed you that in a couple of videos, the power of the voice of God. Obviously, frequency and sound hitting the medium is cymatics. So it is talking about cymatics and talking about your cells. It's interesting, isn't it? Because all those cells are doors and also the pineal. Just makes you think, and that's all I ask. So at this point, the green lanterns glow on the brain. Then I found out that we humans do really glow. Now in 2009, adds up to 11, coincidence, Japanese scientists found that humans glow, but it's so faint our eyes can't pick it up. So that intrigued me, because I've always talked about it in my videos that the more knowledge, the more Gnosticism, Gnosis that we learn, the more we glow. Now, isn't it intriguing that our eyes can't pick it up? But think about it. If we do really increase our glow, we are shining a light on the world. And that's why I always tell people to share what they learn. And how do we share what we learn? We open up. You're opening up more doors, more cells, letting more light out. So you can see it's metaphorically or what, but when we share, we are opening up to people. We are sharing what's inside us. So we're opening up our minds, our doors to people. So it's all about the doors. We are the doors. More doors we open, the more we share with other people. But obviously, shit can get in. So that's, just one of the drawbacks. Then I see things like this. It's just blows me away. The human eye can perceive the wavelength of light spectrum, right, and it falling between 380 nanometers to 750. That 3 add 8 is 11. Again, why is this 11 or the doorway everywhere? We open our eyes and we think that we're seeing the whole world out there. But what has become clear, and really just in the last few centuries, is that when you look at the electromagnetic spectrum, we are seeing less than 1/10, which again is that 2 ones, the doorway, billionth of information that's riding out on there. So we can call that visible light, but everything else passing through our bodies is completely invisible to us. Even though we accept the reality that's presented to us, we really are only seeing a little window of what's happening. Now, this is to do with the observer effect, the double split experiment, which is again another 11, and affects our reality. All these ones, these doors, these 11s, the realm of L11. Remember, electric, the jurisdiction of L. Just blows me away. So you can see why it intrigues me. When more we learn, the more light we shine on others, and we do really glow, but our eyes can't pick it up. Yet, all these 11s appear everywhere. So hopefully you just find this intriguing like I am. It's just a blast to share what I find with like-minded individuals. Right, back to some electrical symbols and some of my thinking on them. As you can see on the left is a symbol for earthing or grounding. Now we all know the benefits of what's known as earthing or grounding when we take our shoes off and we connect to Mother Earth, the motherboard. And I'll put an image on the screen of an image. It just made me smile when I seen it because it's talking about our connectivity to the motherboard, a circuit board. Now the benefits of earthing, I'll just put a few on. It's improved sleep, stress reduction, pain relief, better blood circulation, reset overnight cortisol, improved cardiovascular function, normalised muscle tension, faster recovery from muscular strain, increased energy. So it's common sense that the invention of the rubber sole to basically break that connection to Mother Earth, the motherboard, is to stop all these benefits. They don't want us healthy because when we're healthy, we're happy, and we're not being controlled. The fear, the willpower. Can you see? It's all connected. So what you're seeing on screen now is, if you're wondering what's to show me this, this is the etymology for intellect. Now it comes from intelligere or intellectus in Latin. Basically means understanding, from intelligere, understand, intelligent. But also, if you look at the etymology, you will find a bit saying, oh, it's the ability of the human mind to reach the correct conclusion about what is true and what is fake in reality. So it's important to have an intellect. Now, if you're wondering why he's talking about intellect is, let me show you a couple of old symbols from books that I've already talked about, and then you'll go, wow, you're spot on. So here they are, guys. On the left, it says the vertical stroke represents the oneness of God or the Godhead in general. It also symbolises power descending upon mankind from above, or in the opposite direction, the yearning of mankind towards higher things. So it's like a connection to source. It's the vertical line. It could be the flow that I've talked about before. Now on the right, you have intellect, the symbols for intellect at the top, passive intellect in the middle, active intellect, and then at the bottom, the intellect in action. Right, guys, so think about it. They look like sound waves. So obviously when it's passive, there's no sound or cymatics, so it's silent. Source hits it, the flow hits it, and the intellect in action moves. It's a wave. It's like memory. Now put them two together, you get the earthing symbol. How wow is that? So when we connect to the ground or connect to source from above, we get the intellect in action. How wow is that? So we can talk about grounding and why it has an effect, because as above, so below, in the sense we connect God from above, but God from below, the motherboard, Mother Earth. So I already showed you one Masonic image, and that is in regard to the realm where we could be. Now I just thought, could I find anything else that could be in regard to the electrical sense and the circuit board? And we've all seen these images for the G and wondered what they are, from the Grand Architect to geometry to Gnosticism, Gnosis, and I thought, what could it be? And it hit me, the symbol for an electric generator is the letter G. What if? Could it be that simple? That in your face. Now, in this pandemic, I know it's been going on for a long time, but primarily in this pandemic, they've been fist pumping, and I've been telling people it's all been in regard to Janus, all the face masks, everything. It's all in regard to him. What if I could tell you I could connect even the fist pumping to Janus and to the circuit board and this electrical system? You would go, wow, wouldn't you? I actually got the tingles. Friends that I showed this to were, wow, I can see it. It's beyond words. Now we see it. Now, are you ready for what this means in electrical sense and terminology? It's wow. So there we go. You see a fist pump, the image that I've selected. Now I had an idea. Again, could I find anything in regard to electric symbology? I believe the fist pump is a symbol for transformer. And you can quite see it, even get the 11 symbology in the middle where the action with the current actually goes. Tell me I'm not seeing something. Tell me you can see that fist pumping action represents the symbology for the transformer. The transform you. Transformers. They want to transform us into a Tron. Transhumanism. It's a big thing now and it's in all the films. Tell me guys, I'm not going crazy and you can see what I can see. I'm sorry about the clarity, it's the best I could do, but I thought this was important. A transistor is a semiconductor device used to amplify or switch electronic signals and electrical power. Transistors are one of the basic building blocks of a modern electronics, and that's why I've highlighted the building blocks. It is composed of semiconductor material, usually with at least 3 terminals for connection to an external circuit. Janus is known as Terminus, the god of boundaries and transitions. You can see why I'm showing it you now. Now there's 2 basic transistors, PNP transistors and NPN transistors. Now when you look at transistors and the symbol for transistors on the left and the right, the transistor to me looks like a water tower. And we're talking about circuit boards. Oh, what about having what you can see? There is a water tower on the right. To me, the neon identical to a transistor. Now I'm not the only one to think like this, and coming up is a picture of a transistor / water tower, and it's the world's largest transistor water tower in Holmdel, New Jersey. The water tower at the now defunct Bell Labs R&D facility in Holmdel. The 3-legged tower commemorates the invention of the transistor by Bell Labs scientists. So they're thinking on the same lines as me. Now back to the transistor symbol. I looked at that and I knew instantly what it was. I'll turn it around so you can see. Who is it? For me, it is Baphomet. You can see it. Now I'll put them side by side. You'll see it more. And what I'll do then is I'll change the colour so you can actually see it overlap the black and white. And there you go. Remember, Baphomet, transistors. And Janus is Terminus, as well as a god of transitions. Transitions, transistors. You can see why I had to include this. It's basically Janus. So I want to look at harmony now. I'm going to finish off with this section. It's going to be big enough as it is. Now harmony. Talking about harmony in reference to people talk about churches, cathedrals, and the cathedrals. Whatever way you want to look at it. But let's look at the word harmony itself. They say it's a combination of simultaneously sounding musical notes to produce a pleasing effect. The quality of forming a pleasing and consistent whole. The state of being in agreement or concord. Or an arrangement of the 4 Gospels or any other parallel narratives which present a single continuous narrative text. Now it comes from the Greek harmos and Latin harmonia, and it means to join, joining. That doesn't sound like musical. Are they joining musical notes? What are they joining? That's what gets me all the time when I read this. It's saying harmony is to join something. Now, let's look at harmonics. Obviously, harmonic comes from harmony, but I'll just read up the top bit. So obviously music and overtone accompanying a fundamental tone at a fixed interval produced by a vibration of a string, a column of air, etc. in an extent fraction of its length. Physics, a component frequency of an oscillation of wave, and in astrology, a division of the zodiacal circle by a specific number using the interpretation of a birth chart. And it gives an example, the 5th harmonic. So I just wanted to include that with it because I just want to look at the word and I'll do my thing that I do. Doesn't mean it's right, guys, for all you snowflakers out there. It's just my interpretation. So what do you say when you look at the word harmony? What stands out? So I'm going to split it into 3, but look at the first 4 letters. Harm. So the joining, that's what it basically means. But it's talking about harming. What's it want to harm? Why would it be harm? Why would they use that word harm, that spell? What are they harming? And that's just what gets me every time when I see the word harmony. So I've broken down into 3, as you can see, harm on the why. Now you've got to be asking, what is the why? Now I've done loads of videos on the why, but here's just what I found today for this video. So one possibility I was thinking of, could the why in the harmony be the corpus callosum? As you can see there, it's a Y, but it's also like the man in the maze. I've done many a video on this. I need to re-put up on the new channel, but it just got me thinking, could it be the corpus callosum? I mean, in Latin it means tough body. I mean, might have heard it in church, Corpus Christi, the body of Christ. But it just got me thinking, when you put words together, they have a different meaning sometimes. So I just thought, you know what? Let me just look at the word corpus and see what that means. And bam. And bam, I got this. Definition of corpus: the body of a human or animal, especially when dead. The main part of the body for a bodily structure or organ, the corpus of the uterus. Another, the main body of corporeal substance of a thing, specifically the principle of a fund or estate as distinct from income or interest. So when split up from callosum, corpus means dead. That got me thinking, so are they trying to kill the corpus callosum with music or harmonics in churches or cathedrals? So that's an intriguing, isn't it? If you think about it, because what the corpus callosum does, it connects. It's like 200,000 or 200 million nerve endings, and you connect, and it was what connects your hemispheres of your brain together. So if they're cancelling or trying to kill the bridge, the connection, or the Janus, because he's also known as the bridge, and the transitions from one side of the brain to the other, are they trying to stop the connection? And that got me thinking of an old video I did. I'm not going to go into it in great detail, but there used to be in antiquity and a long time ago a theorised thing called bicameralism, or the bicameral mind, and you'd have seen this in shows like Westworld. And that intrigued me when it talks about how the left and the right brain, one side of the brain talked to the other, but it was taken as the voice of God. Are they trying to induce this in people that go to church or cathedrals, that they're trying to stop that connection and just have one side of the brain talk to the other, and there's no way you interacting, and consciousness and looking into what you were thinking? It's just an idea, just a crazy idea. So talking about the why and the church, what do priests wear and archbishops and popes on the vestments? Does it not look like a Y to you? It does to me. It's so in your face. But also, could it be the Y related to the Alhaz ruin, or the Elhaz? So I wanted to look a bit deeper than just, it's a protection ruin. And it talks about the rune Elhaz is tied to the whole symbolism, in particular that of bright point between consciousness, what we've been talking about, and the divine realm of man. But unlike Elhaz or Ehwaz, it's a torturous path, and the rune that allows you to reinforce Haminga, magical power, magical protection, resisting the hostile forces, where a ritual is the display of shields around him and given above and below, written in bright red, if you must deal with hostile people or situations. Bit like the shield, the willpower. With Algiz, we are required to relate in new ways with the dimension of the sacred, to stretch our minds, our whole body up, and receive the knowledge from the original source of all knowledge. Now, I talked about that last video, being all 11s, remember? The Algiz rune is a natural evolution of Anzu's rune, the rune of Odin, which is Janus, who appears in forms of signals and messages with Anzu's, receives warnings and advice, other prayers and sacrifices, and to him we receive from Odin in a holy and virtuous cycle. We do not need any means to celebrate our union with God. We are free to ask and offer, to thank and honour. We do not need to confess our sins, as we do not need absolution. We are the priests of our lives, and our truth is our sacrifice offered to the altar of our lives. Algiz is the sign of the priest who offers sacred things, that sanctifies their lives through self-sacrifice. So are they wearing that Algiz, or Elhaz, because it's the same word, just different pronunciation? Are they sacrificing us? It just seems funny, doesn't it? Things just don't make up. It can't, people will say the churches and the harmonics and the organs are for healing. Well, why have harm in it? That just always gets me. And then I looked into another word. So that word is diocese. Now, as you know, an archbishop will have an archdiocese. The district, like a priest, will have a diocese. Now, where to see how this is broken down, what means it just blew me away and could make more sense. Dio, D-I-O, means something god or godlike or a deity. And sees comes from the Latin cedo, which means to drive away. Now, they're talking about pain, illness, because people talk about these churches are to heal, or it's talking about consciousness or our connection, or to shut away God. Basically talking about the pineal gland. Remember, that's in our temples, in between the temples. And remember, that's the only door that's supposedly able to stay completely open. Were they trying to shut that? Who knows? But what's intriguing, because we've been talking about electronics and circuits and different things, the CEDO is an anagram for code. So then could that mean God code? Who knows? But I'll leave it up to you. But I just thought I had to share that with you. What goes flying around in my head. And talking about corpus, a computer has a corpus. A corpus is a collection of texts stored on a computer. Books, magazines, letters, internet pages, emails, or parts of these. Or transcriptions of speeches, phone calls, or radio programs. Often stored as a single file in a simple text format. So you can see how intriguing it is when I'm showing you association of certain words, and it turns up on computers also. So I want to finish off talking about harmony, because according to people's research, a cure for cancer can be found using what is known as the 11th harmonic. 11, that's my intriguing thing in all this. And it said music with ratios of 11 sounds horrible. Is this why they call it harmony? So obviously I've got into the etymology. Could that just be the very reason? Right, guys, coming up is my thoughts.
Yeah, they call me the black sheep. They call me the black sheep. I'm running wild while you're asleep. That's why they call me the black sheep.
Hello and welcome. Right, guys, I will try and talk for as long as possible. As you know, you great guys know that I've not been well these last 3-4 days. Although my physical body's not too bad. My voice has not been letting me talk for that long. Or it might not be too loud. So please turn the volume up. I do apologise. But I have to get this video out. Feels like forever since I last made one. I tried to edit it out the other day and it just wouldn't do it. Whether it can last a few more minutes and then edit, I will try. Just give you guys something to watch. So thank you for all the lovely messages and support, and get well soon. I appreciate it. And nothing like to have people have you back like you guys. So I want to say truly humbled to the people who are buying me coffee. It's so appreciated. So if anyone wants to do that, the links are in the description, etc, etc. And it's humbling. As you know, I've never wanted to do it before, but people would just keep messaging, wanted to do their bit, which I love the support. That's what I get so much out of. But people just want to go that little bit further. So I appreciate to the people that's done that. It's humbling. So, the realm of 11. It went down better than I thought. And you know me, guys, I try and fit too much information sometimes into videos. And thus I thought I made a decision. I want to break it down into numerous parts. And today was like part 2. But it was like a light bulb moment. And what made me funny was because I wanted to do it on the electrical terms and electrical symbols in regard to circuit board Earth and motherboard Earth and etc, etc. That the symbol of Earth is a circle and a square, a circle and a cross, and a light bulb in electrical symbols is the same but turned. I just thought, you know what? I definitely had a light bulb moment. And why are all these symbols used for electrical purposes? There must be something in it. Right, so I don't want to let any of them people who are paranoid, I'm scratching my nose. Because I'm not going to, well, I've got tissues on the ready and I'm going to try my best so we don't make this a horror movie of me coughing and sneezing. You got to have a laugh, even when you're not well, you got to have a laugh, and that's what I love doing. Trying to laugh it all away. It does help. So, I do have notes for a change, which makes a surprising change. I do have a little note, but I'm actually trying to lay it out a little bit better today so I can get through a lot of points, because the video had a lot in it. So hopefully I've moved the mic nearer, you can actually hear me. I won't know until I press stop, and it'll probably be me going, and you guys are, eh? What's he saying? It's all good. It's all good. So the light bulb moment just had me. So that made me want to look into it a bit more. Scratch your nose, scratch your nose. People thinking, why does he keep saying that? It's just my little private joke, guys. For anyone that's new, people don't like you scratching your nose, your ear, resting your arms, or itch your back. You know what I mean? People don't understand that. When people are not used to the cameras and looking at yourself when you're filming, it is a surreal thing. So it's just an ongoing joke. For any new starter, hopefully the guys in the chat and the premiers will make you feel welcome. YouTube don't like me answering answering comments anymore, because they hardly show any. So that light bulb, it was one of the main things that got me, like, wow. And if you remember, in the realm of L11 part 1, I showed you that symbol to start off. It was in one of the symbols, and that's what really got me into it. So I just want to show you, it's that one there. That's obviously, it appears in the video. And obviously that is the male element, pervades the female, so creation takes place. Everything belonging to the world is compounded with the influence of male and female. And what made me go, is because obviously we have male and female in electronics also. And it got me to reminded me of cymatics, because I love cymatics. I've looked into it and been into it for a long time. So I'm pretty well versed on it. But because we can't see everything and people's comments, it always got to me thinking, when we look at cymatics and we see the beautiful images, and then you have obviously the nature ones like tortoises and different things, all these cymatics are artificially made. Does that have an influence on the pattern? And I mean artificially made in the sense of it's coming through a speaker. It's not natural sound. And Mother Earth makes a sound. Obviously we can see it. But it is influenced by human activity. Because obviously they're spraying all sorts, not just in the sky, and I mean in liquids, because the sky is a gas and liquid. So that's a medium straight away. So any time of influence with sonic weapons or sonic interference, you'll see it, and people will have showed you that in the clouds. And we have radio waves and so much 5G. There's so many signals and interference on unnatural sound. It affects the medium and what we see. So it's very hard to say what is a natural cymatics pattern anymore, because everything will be influenced. Even when, like I said, I use a turtle shell, obviously the mother giving birth to the egg would be open to the elements. Does the egg protect it? Does the egg radiation affect it from sound? So, you know what I mean, it's pretty deep on a topic on its own. So, but I've always wondered, would a natural, if we had no radio waves, no 5G, no sonic weapons, no voice of skull technology, no, what they are trying to do, would these patterns be different? And thus we get to the problem of obviously harmony and harmonics. It's just gets me because when we're talking about, people always talk about the churches, cathedrals in Tartaria, cathedrals, and the harmonics and the organs are there for healing. Were they? It's not me trying to be a little upstart or trying to look at it as a negative Nancy. I just want to ask all these questions because that's what I do. That's what I love doing. I don't want to take the first person who thought of this as an answer, because who's to say they're not control opposition? History is his story. It's all about someone's perspective and tale. Whether it's a lie or not, it's still information. So this information is still information to be learned and used until we find something that fits our intuition a bit better. So when we look at the word harm and harmony, it's got harmony. And that always got me, like I said in the video. Why, if it's good for you, is it called harm? Or is it the fact that it's harming something that's not good for you in you? So there's always two spins and two ways to look at anything, two-faced. Got it on the brain. So you can see me point. And then obviously when I was doing the words on harm, on why, harmony, harm on the why, were the pointers these... Now, is it just... That's another point. Churches, places of worship. Obviously, people know that you don't have to go to church, but you can do. And then there's cathedrals. There's two different places. Is it just because there's generally one seat of power for an archbishop, which is a cathedral? Is it a fact that was where they did the harm and the churches are okay? Or is it vice versa? Or are they both? So there's a lot of things to it that I didn't even include in the video because, again, you can't put everything in. People will point out the stuff that you missed, not realising you're going to be part 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's just about piecing things together. Part 1 was to build the legwork to get people interested in the theory of 11, and from the word electric being the realm and jurisdiction of L, and being an enclosed system between two poles, 101, and that's like the Masonic symbol with the two St. John's, derivative of Janus. People will always try and tell me I'm wrong. I am wrong. I am right. I am wrong. It's information. People will always try and change your mind to fit their narrative. Doesn't matter if you're, like, for instance, popular channels, big channels. People are using them as history, and it's not. It's all about opinion and perspectives. Even me. I try and make my videos very objective. I show you against and for sometimes in a video. And I always tell you, this is just my opinion on the facts that I found. Doesn't mean it's true. But some channels out there will be pushing the agenda. And they should be never used as a yardstick. I mean, for instance, I always get told, go and check out this channel. They talk about Janus now. It's because they're stealing all my information. All these channels watch my channel because I remembered the odd name from old videos. And it's just funny that they're talking about it now. Did they mention our great community and channel here? Not many of them do. It's not like, and like I said, who's the person who always says, we all have an ego? I have an ego. It's how you handle it. It's why I don't answer any trolls back. It's the ego that wants you to fight back. Remember, who's the idiot? The fool himself or the person who argues with the fool? And that's what I try and use all the time because I so want to come back at some people, but it's never ending. People, the problem is with people, they try and get you to change your mind, your core beliefs to fit their own, so they can fit in their own little echo chamber of sorts. So back to this, it just made me go wow when we talk about harm. And then you look in harm on the why. This, like I said, it's just me theorising, it doesn't mean it's fact. But when you find out that I've done a lot of research on the why, not only because it's spelled Janus, but obviously because of the corpus callosum in the brain, callosum. And that's obviously the tough body, I think it's pronounced, if I remember in my notes. I've got it like would you change over, move your pages like this? I'll just write anywhere, me, and it's like anyone. I bet we write in a language that's untenable for people to read, but ourselves, it's like, oh, that's so neat that today, Paul. So are they trying to send people to churches, cathedrals, using the frequency to destroy the bridge, the corpus callosum, because that's how you send messages from both hemispheres. So if you can control that, the antenna, the wire, the tuning fork, I call it, people will call it the mediator. It's funny, isn't it? And if you can control that, and that's what got me thinking of my old video, it's gone up my brain, the bicameral mind, when in antiquity, is it Julian James or Julian Jane, a psychologist, said that in antiquity people had a bicameral mind, where one side of the mind was used as God, and the other side just listened. Now, I wonder if that was what this setup was trying to do, bringing that bicameral mind, like voice to skull technology. If you're thinking you're being talked to by God, you're going to listen to it, but not necessarily you can talk back. Now, when you talk back, is that what's classed as consciousness? Or, like I was saying in the video, are they trying to shut down the door? Remember, it's in Revelation, and it's about the door that no one can shut. Revelation 3:8. It's an 11. And didn't a John write Revelation? Ooh, just a coincidence. We all love a good coincidence. That's for Ginger Grin. She screams anytime I says that. Paul, no such thing. So it just gets you thinking, doesn't it? If the pineal, and the occult name for the pineal is Janus, and what's funny is when I'm telling people about Janus and trying to get people's awareness of it, I see them all talking about the third eye and to activate it and all this, and they go, yeah, it's the occult name. Janus, oh no. And then I see him quote Manly P. Hall and all this. Oh yes. And you go, well, Manly P. Hall call that Janus. Crickets. It just, people just disappear. Again, don't take this as fact. This is just information. And it's information that I'm using. And that's why, as a community, we all should use our own personal information that rings true, but still treat it as information. It's not like you going to war for religion, you know what I mean, and you were just told by, the bishop or the Rome at the time in antiquity, and you're always going to war and killing people in the name of religion, in the name of God. And obviously, one of the first commandments, which there is 11 of, talks about do not kill, basically, So, this is just an intriguing thing. What were they trying to do in churches? Were they actually trying to heal? Possibilities. But I've never gone into a church or a cathedral and felt good when I've heard the organ. And obviously it's a type of Gregorian chant type of thing. I've been in many churches, both big, and what's classed as, we're all acquiring and different things. It seems like they're more ones to put you in a trance. Like, you get used and shown in antiquity. Oh, this cave and temple in Malta. And if you chanted at the right, you were put into a meditative state. Is that a form of mind control? Yes, some people meditate, and I don't mean all meditation is mind control, but if you've been put in a trance with drums, the beat, it's like a hypnotising you. So you're open to suggestion. Is that a possibility, what they were doing into church? But then you look at also, where did I put the notes? Where did I put the notes, Paul? I know I missed something out. I know. It was something about harmonics, wasn't it? Paul. And but I think it was something to do with the fact that, God, it's because I'm not well. I'm not thinking. It'll come back to me. I'll not think about it, and I'll let it come to me naturally. So that's what I was talking about. Churches using to heal. Were they actually made to heal? I think harmony. That's it. Harmony means when you obviously two inputs become one. You know, a harmonic. The sound makes a nice harmony beat. To join. It means joining. There we go. See? Don't think of it. And I thought of it. What are they trying to join? And we also, if you think about it, on a non-religious base, you have rituals in the church, and you also have what some people do class as cannibalism. So, and then obviously you had the why on the thing, and all those rituals. What were they trying to join? Were they trying to join a frequency to us? Because I've always talked about frequencies of being evil and good. I've also talked about how the fallen angels were a frequency. Because everything is a frequency, vibration and energy. So that just got me thinking, what were they trying to join with us? Was it a mating? You know what I mean? And that just always gets me. What were they trying to join? And we see people talking about DNA and the third helix and different things. When the DNA helix has never been photographed properly. The one that people always see was an artist rendition. And then, as I showed you in that 11 video in the 70s, I can't remember what date it was. It got video 90s, I think it might have been. It got taken picture the first time, and it's 2 columns, like 11. So it's an 11, the realm of 11. And again, I'm just using information that any one of us can find. So is it like, I did an old video on Dendera that's still causing a storm when I'm talking about it being an incubation centre. Was something being given to people to mar them together? Because they've always used sound and biology, like type of weapons and things. Because we had the dancing plague, we've had the Black Death, another plague that was brought through genocide, Genesis, genome. So there's all these things that can get you to your mind, and I can run off and go on and off with this video. So that just got me to the word about harmony and harmonics. And hopefully you can see that. And obviously the corpus callosum is known as the bridge, or the connection and the mediator. Is that what they're trying to destroy or to turn off? So our brains can't talk to, the hemispheres, the two, we have a person in the middle of the pineal. It looks like he's praying. I've showed you that many times, in between the 2 temples. Are they trying to stop that connection? Is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? Because sometimes we can't take for granted the information that it's been put out there. So that's intriguing. And then when you look at corpus callosum, obviously it means tough body. But remember when you're at church and it goes Corpus Christi, the body of Christ. So that got me thinking, if you split it up, is there any other definitions? And I found one. Whether it's right or wrong, it's still information out there. Still has to make you think. People are always so quick to dismiss it. It's all information. Corpus, body, like I said, but also dead. So are they trying to kill it? Or is it dead and they're trying to awaken it? Like a ritual. They want to bring back the bridge and get both sides working of the temple. Is that leading you open for possession? Or becoming a host? That's what they talk about in church, innit? Taking the host. So all these things are just there to make you think. That's what I always want to do in my videos. Don't mean I'm right, don't mean I'm wrong. It's just a different perspective on the information I found. And I'm talking to you like you sat in a room. That's just how I work. Some people like it, some people don't. But I still have great people behind me, supporting me. Without them, you're nothing. So that light bulb moment, they trigger something. And I only had that when I watched it back with you and the guys in the premiere. The symbol, the circle with an X. But also that X and the circle becomes 101, 11, the doorway. The base knowledge. It's not like Gnosticism and Gnostic is an 11, is it? And people will tell Paul, you're doing this gematria all wrong. Why? Please, pray tell. Oh, well, you're not doing this right, you're not doing this right, this is how you do it. Who says? And that's what I always say to everyone. Who says you're doing it wrong? Oh, well, the internet or this big guru says you have to do it this way and it's always been done that way, so you can't do it that way. Who says? If I found so many links by doing this so wrong, does that mean I'm right or wrong? Or have you just found another way? Everywhere has another way in. We're all doors. Like knowledge is part of the ledge of the door. Just so intriguing, it. So you have that light bulb, like Mother Earth, like the male and female in harmony with God. Again, harmony, is it harming God? Or is it be working together? Or is it something else? That's what it is about these English words. And it does, a lot of it does reflect English words. And if you remember, English was Anglish and it meant like not a demon, a succubus or an incubus, if we remember. But it's just so funny that all these symbols do derive and have been there forever. For instance, doesn't mean these are right or wrong, it just means it's someone's perspective. As you can see at the bottom, it says 493 symbols and signs from the earliest times to the Middle Ages by primitive peoples and early Christians. And when I do a live, I might go through some of them. Again, these are just people's perspective. If you went out and found a symbol, for instance, you know, you people who go out walking, the knowledge that you have gained so far will help you perceive what you are seeing. My knowledge and information is different to you. Doesn't mean it's better or worse, it just means it's different. So we always look at things differently. So when people are using this fact, remember that person has a different perspective and path than you. He'll see things, or she will see things differently. And then that's how things happen. So that's taken into account. So that was just brilliant, that when you're talking about that symbol for the light bulb, which is like for knowledge in it, and wow, I've had that moment of clarity. Why? Because the light bulb is shining. How many times have I said that? It just gets you when you make a video and it all comes back to one video, and it just feels good. Even though you're half dead, I still love doing it, and I still love showing you guys what I found. And then obviously that symbol and other symbols make up the Coptic cross, combining those symbols. It's like you can't make this shit up, as I say. It just gets you, doesn't it? And remember, the Coptic cross is a circle with the X and a cross. And obviously I've showed you the cross symbol, I think, and what the cross is. There's so many different types of crosses. And it's so funny, there's one here that I didn't show you. It talks about how the most widespread and best known Chrismon, which is obviously a symbol, it was probably originally developed from an ancient Oriental representation of the rising sun, in which, so you can see how they have it there, and obviously you move that up, so there's so many things. Again, it's people's perspective. And that's why I love looking at these books, because it's given me a perspective that not many people will have. It's always good to have a different answer. So the cross was the sign of the cross, God and earth combined. So, and then the circle was being without beginning or end. So it's like combining those two symbols. So you can see, again, these are just used for reference and information. So the sign of the cross is earth and are combined in harmony. Again, harmony, that word. And then the circle is without beginning or end, is also a sign of God or eternity. Who's the beginning of God and beginning of endings? Beginning, God of beginning and endings. Seems that you can find a connection for everything. Oh, but no, that's just me making it up. So it's just intriguing, isn't it? So when we get to, and I have to thank people who said it a long time ago, and for the person who reminded me last week about the upcoming symbol of the 101, or the old symbol for Masonic orders. It has the two St. John's, and it has the circumpunct in the middle with the dot. Now, I covered that for so long. I've told people, so like I said, there's new people all the time. John is a derivative of Janus. So you have two Januses in it, and that just always blows me away. But people were telling me, and I did come up to the conclusion, but you can't remember everything. So if it wasn't for the person last week reminded me, I probably would have forgot again that the symbol is identical to the green lantern, which is if you turn it over. Now this got me when we're talking about the green lantern, because although there's yellow, red and different colours now, primarily I remember, because like I said, I've not gone into a great deal, I've only watched a few as a kid, it was just red and yellow was just coming into it, but yellow and green, sorry, so that was just coming into it. But primarily the green, and the like soldiers or police, like a police force of the universe, the corps. And it's primarily, green, and it's willpower. They use willpower, and their imagination from that lets them create anything. So that got me thinking, willpower, the inner strength. A lot of truthers, me, you, everyone that's listening at home, it's not in the chat, we're not easily broken down because we have willpower. That's what stops mind control, because our inner strength is fighting back. We are fighting back with our willpower. And that just got me thinking, could we be like the Green Lanterns, using a force field, a torus field if you want to call it, which still is a door, to protect us from mind control? Is that why we're not easily persuadable? Because like I said, when we get ill, and you're ill, you focus on ill, and that's when you do come to control. So that's why it's an ongoing battle. We're always fighting, and we never give in. Look at me. I've been at low points in my life. Like I said, I keep my problems to myself, but I will always try and keep fighting. Does not matter if you're knocked out on the canvas, having 10 winks because you've been sparked out. Doesn't matter. You can stay there for months. But when you awake, you get your fucking ass up off the canvas. Doesn't matter how long or slow it is. Don't give the bastards the satisfaction of seeing you stay there. They don't want you to fight back by getting up and come on, let's have some more. That is what's your inner strength. And that is what they want to whittle down of us. That's why we have all these lockdowns and all these law changes, and you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't grow this, you can't, it's all to break your will. It's funny that will and willpower comes from willa, which talks about helmet and protection. Tell me, what's the odds on that? It's like it could be an explanation. That's how I look at it. Some people will look at it, because remember, people see what they see. It's never hidden. I'm changing my mind on that. Remember, it's always hidden in plain sight. It's not. It's always there. We just can't see it. So you can say, yeah, well, that means it's hidden. It's not hidden. It's just hidden from you because you're not ready to see it. Your bubble, your field has not lit it up yet. But for others, it has. That's why it's always there. So that's an ongoing battle of it going light, dark, light, dark, light, dark. It's just intriguing. So that's what they want to break. And that's why the helmet and the protection comes from will and willa and willpower. That just blew me away. And it does think too, because the symbol is 101 and it has a circumpunct, the Godhead. And although I said I didn't know in the video, it's because I'm not well. I actually do know what the dot is, because I've put it in the video. And it's there, as you can see. And although they've put it in that font, it could be a circle or anything. Or you could say it's a cube of Saturn. Black cube of Saturn. Saturn is also being known as Janus. See the point? The dot is the origin for which all signs start, and is the uttermost essence. It was with the idea that the Masonic lodges of old expressed the secrecy of their guilds by means of the dot. When you go to a website, you always type .com, commerce, trafficking. What are they trafficking? I've been into that. But think about it also. Computers, Ouija boards, black mirrors, scry mirrors, they're trafficking your energy. But hey, Paulo, he's just nuts. So that talks about it, the dot, but also the circumpunct, the open eye, but also the Godhead, the pineal. That's what they're trying to shut. Hence in Revelation 3:8. I can remember the full, like I said, all Bible translations are so different. You know what I mean? So it's very hard to say, but it basically says, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. Revelation 3:8. Is that the door? It's always meant to be open, or is it ourselves? Funny that, isn't it? That ourselves, and I did a video a long time ago. It's not on my new channel. It'll be on me Black Sheep Odyssey. And it was just asking, are we living in paradise or hell or prison? Prison or paradise, I think it was called. And obviously, I didn't know then. I didn't put it into the video. But, pardon me. Hopefully you can still hear me, because we're at 35 minutes. You'll have to just turn it really loud. So, our cells have doors. That just blew me away. So, we're talking about frequencies, we're talking about GMOs. Are they trying to shut all our cell doors so we don't produce the same amount of electricity and spark? Because remember, we'll be talking about L11s, and I still like to put stuff up on the screen, but where is it now? Where did you put it, Paulo? It's funny that, and you always forget. Is that it? So the capacitor, remember the symbol? It looked like a T, but it's also a door and an 11. A capacitor, device for storing electrical energy, consisting of two conductors in close proximity and insulated from each other. A simple example of such a storage device is a parallel plate capacitor. Does sound like us, doesn't it? I mean, can it turn around? We'll ignore that fact, that it looks like, a door and an 11. And what's one of the names? Famous capacitors, the flux capacitor. What is it again? Oh yes, it's a Y, or it's a trinity. Again, these are just information that I like to pass on. So it's just intriguing me when we're talking about electrical and tying it into the human. And we're walking bags of electric. So could we be capacitors? Like I said, I included all videos on arches. People always talking Tartara. Look at these arches. The flow of energy, the flow of data. Data? That is Gnostic for, Hebrew for Gnostic or Gnosticism. That is the 11th one. They don't like to use that. It's always generally hidden on some of them. You will see it on some, but generally it's not, like I explained in the last. Funny that it's 11, just a coincidence there. Ginger Grin is grinning. So it just gets you thinking, and I'm always just showing you about these connections. That these archways are logic gates controlling the flow of energy, which is us, we're walking through them, but also controlling our mind. A long time ago I made a video called the doorway effect. I made one called the door and then the doorway effect. Remember, the devil's always knocking at your door. Just like Jesus says, I am the door. It's like good and evil are both knocking at the door. Who's the god of doors? With multiple faces. Oh yeah, we'll ignore that. So you can see the point when we're talking about capacitors and our cells being doors. What are they trying to shut? Is it the pineal? Is that the true point that we connect? I've talked about in many videos about the tailbone, and how that's a sacred area because it's called the sacrum. The ilium, the wings. In 11, you got the sciatic nerve. 11, just all coincidences. But it's interesting coincidences that just make me go, because our brain works differently. You guys will take different information from this that I've not even thought of. And I won't learn this till you say in the chat and I'll go, bloody hell, bugger. How did I miss that? So it's just intriguing. And I'm just what I'm up to. So yeah, that just, all these things seem together, and people are talking about arches now in the community. Who's the god of arches? Oh, well, no, we'll not mention that. So people don't want you. How many times have you mentioned, because you watch me, you guys, and you always pass on me information because I see it. How many times do you get closed down when you mention Janus from big channels? And I've had loads of people message me to tell me they do. These big channels, and people who even watch this video on, if they've just clicked it, Google Janus, and he just says he's a god of beginnings. So everything else I say is bollocks, because they've Googled it. Yo, go research. Ignore this years of research and digging that I've done. But again, guys, it's just perspective. But I'm sharing my perspective. And it's strange how people, these other channels, as soon as you mention Janus, the door's locked on you. And this is the battle I have had. Since I started bringing it up, people are telling me, oh, this channel do Janus. They don't research. These are good channels. I'm not slating channels because it's hard making content. People want to bloody try it. Pardon the swearing. It's hard work. But it's all about perspectives. So when you don't open your eyes to the different aspects of Janus, you won't see the bigger picture. How many channels have gone on about this pandemic? I've showed you it's all to Janus. Without a shadow of doubt. Yet they still don't mention it. It's like the egos won't let them. downfall them, more information that we cram together, the better the picture will become. And what's funny, what got me as well is our intellect, as I was talking about before, and it was them different symbols, and I'd like to show you again, plus remind me, because I'm a bit brain dead when I'm not, sometimes I'm just not as much on it when I'm not well. So you remember them symbols from the video? A bit slower. There you go. Passive intellect. What was the other one? Active intellect and intellect in action. And then you could, I thought, well, people talk about grounding, and I ground, and earthing, you walk barefoot, and the benefits to that. Because what's happening, you're connecting to Mother Earth, the motherboard, and the Earth's natural electromagnetic or electric, the free radicals or whatever it's called. It's coming up for your feet, and it's sparking. It's hitting the mediums in you, your crystalline structure, your brain waves, and it's activate them. That's why when it's passive, what they want, by putting you in shoes, and when it's active, you can see the wave has started. It just got to me. Well, remember that symbol? That is the vertical stroke represents the oneness of God, or the Godhead in general. It also symbolises power descending upon mankind from above, or in the opposite direction. I can't believe when I found that. It just made so much sense to me. Those symbols together are 100% that in my mind. And obviously if you turn it round, it looks like a tree or an umbrella. And then an umbrella sometimes, like the umbrella organisation, looks like a cross. The whole way to connecting it back to the 11 and Mother Earth. But that's just showing you how, again, your intellect being sparked by a positive charge can have a positive effect on you. And they've used it again. This video was all about 11 part 2 and all the things that I've connected to Mother Earth, the motherboard, 11, and green, like the green grass, nature. Green in Freemasonry is immortality. How do you live forever but be constantly charged? And that brought me to that this secret organisation. Now, I need to look into this more. I'm no expert, far from it, and I never will be, because we all have ongoing things. But it just blew me away. Did the creators of the Green Lantern base it on the Illus Coins? To me, 100% yes. But that's just my perspective. I might be biased. The Green Lantern Corps fighting bad all around the universe, having power of a ring. What the Masons have, rings, focusing the power, but also the love for, you know, the organisation, the brotherhood, the whatever they want to call them. And you have an order called, what was the full term now? Did write it down somewhere. But like anything, I lose it. Where did I write it? Basically, the Illus Coin means elect priests, but the full name was something the Order of the Elect Priests of the Known Universe or something like that. They were warriors. And from the little bit of information that I have gathered, talk about how they were using sigils and signs and symbols from angels to fight demonic forces and also other angels. They used the power of angels, and they said they got this information from Adam, from God, who whispered them. So these were magical priests, again, they're trying to use the word elect, fighting evil, using magic, using will, imagination. Is that why they're trying to control us? So you can see how intrigued I was by the Ellis Coins, and in general, because there's so much stuff you can put in a video, you don't know when to stop. All the things that I've talked about, corpus, again, found in computers. And I can't believe I've lasted so long, and hopefully the sound is quite clear for you guys, but you'll have to put it a bit louder. I wanted to make a video to show you how collective we are to circuit boards, motherboards, and so on. For instance, why are all motherboards mainly green? They do have a few blue ones, but they're mainly green. And he said that was in the 70s or whatever, it was easier for the solder mask. Well, that's another 11. So all these things just make you go, And always people talk about, the melted buildings and stuff and melted mountains. Is it just a solder mask, a soldering technique? Because if we're living in a motherboard and we're walking computer parts, and in general they say the brain is a biological computer, and all these references, it just makes you So that's why it makes me think this realm of 11 and Janus, because think about it, the Gnosticism knowledge is light, like I've said. The more knowledge and information we can cram into our cells, and I've talked about it in a different type of term, but think about it now, you're getting all them fat people into a cell, and when they fart, it's a bad smell, but it's a lot of the smell. And if you just change that around to you're putting people or light into a cell, more light you can fit in the cell, it becomes illuminated, it shines. So more cells that you have open, the doors are open, the brighter and the bigger field of view that you have. Think about it. We always laugh at people in our mole films like Bubble Boy. His field of view and his world was just the parameter of the bubble. Torus field, toroidal field, again, door in German, portal. You're opening the portal. So you walk in portals and you're just making the field of your view and your coverage so much clearer. That's why things become clear. They were hidden before, because remember that you only see 1/10 again, and all the 11s. People will disagree with the slit, saying it's not inaccurate. It's just information. It made me think, and it made me come to another theses and questions. Again, people want to tell you how wrong you are based off what they've learned and use this. You can't, for instance, it's like me now showing you that book, and then you coming up to me and going, you know what, Paul? This book says that book's wrong, so I'm going off that. Oh, well, I'll delete that video then, because this book, it's just another perspective. It's just more information. And you're always going to get that in life. People don't want you to have more opinions. They want you to have their opinion. Because it's all about the battle of the wills. It's their will. They're trying to get you basically like a sim. And that's why I love researching Janus. Because it's opened more doors in more different research topics than anything else. He's appeared in Sumerian times. He's appeared in India. He's appeared in South America. He appears everywhere. He's the gatekeeper. He's a janitor. Janitors have keys, frequency keys. But what do also janitors do? They change the bulbs. They control. Hence why it's always important to research Janus. And if people don't want to research Janus, it's brilliant, it's cool. They'll get there eventually, and and more people are now, not just because of what I'm doing, There's a van going past, but also the 100% brilliant support you guys have done. So I'll have to shut that window. How unprofessional. I think it's someone cleaning. Hello. I'm back. I'm back. I am back. So, yeah. Remember, the more knowledge we learn, so take all information in. People always say, don't. That's all lies. It's his story. It's funny how his story breaks down to his story contains another door. Who's it got a doors? You mentioned Janus, though. It's like a triggering spell. They don't want you to know it. That's where you get a lot of knockbacks. Why I feel ridiculed for years. Have I stopped? Have I buggery? I've carried on. Because I knew eventually people would see. And again, I have the utmost respect for people who don't see what I see. They're not meant. We're all supposed to see different things. It's why you see that. And why I can say, well, other people believe this. And it still fits or is an alternative to what I believe. Because our bubbles, our fields, our field of view, 2 pupils, the 11, changes your surroundings, the observer effect. And people say, oh, it's lies. But look at it. It's speaking sense. If we're in a simulation, they don't want us. The red pill, blue pill. Oh, that adds to 11 in gematria. All these things. Oh, let's knock on Neo's door. The 101. Follow the white rabbit. Who is the white rabbit? Janus. Every first day of the month of the calends, we in this country say white rabbit, or white rabbit 3 times or 2 times. It's supposed to be good luck. So you can just see why I get so excited. People into astrology. Janus is in charge and stands over the zodiac. So that's it. And this is what this video was just all about. I've gone longer than I thought I would. I might be a very croaky on it, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm so buzzing off this video. I didn't go into everything I put in the video, but that's what I want to do. Just some talking points. That this realm, the realm of 11, the electric, the jurisdiction of L, something godly. And that reminds me, that's it, what I forgot as well. Then that talking about people going, rewind, go back to churches, cathedrals. They are the diocese of the priest or the archdiocese, the archbishop, the architect, the arch. It's the district. That's what it is. That's what diocese means. The districts. Now, I broke it down in 2. Dio meant God, something godlike, or a deity. Right? And cese or cease comes from Latin cede, C-E-D-O, I think it was. It's in the video. And that meant to drive away. But also that Siddha, or Seda, whatever you want to pronounce it, anagrammed to code. So we'll be talking about a godlike or deity code. It's not the first time I've found something like that, is it? In my videos. Godlike code. Is it AI? Is it source? Are they trying to drive that away? Again, is that the connection? Is that something to do with the pineal? Is it trying to lock our cells? It's funny that the new images of DNA look like 2 cones. 11, a doorway, a temple, just like it does on the capacitor. So I'm just buzzing and so excited, even though I've not been well. It's just an honour and a privilege for you guys to take your time, keeping me in your mind. All the best wishes. It's humbling. You're making me feel a part of your family. I'm just humbled. You know what I mean? I can't say enough for it. And I know it needs me to make content for you guys to watch. But again, I make this basically for myself. And I just open it up to people to see, you know, this is what's going on in this crazy head. So this video, The Realm of L11 Part 2, basically talking about circuit boards and motherboards and how we are electrical and how all the electrical symbols seem to match. I've talked about arches controlling and transistors. That looks like Baphomet, but the Baphomet it looks like is the new, basically, version. Eliphas Elias, or I think his name is Levi. But the original one that the Templars worshipped had 3 heads. Where have we seen that before? So it always seems to come back. And I'm just like that person that you slay. Oh, everything is Janus. Can't help it if I show you things. Everything is not Janus, of course, but it does feel like that. It does sometimes look like that. But I don't go to research it. I just show you what I see. And I research so many different topics. Looking in this video, you've got circuit boards. So much Masonic symbols. I mean, I even put in the old bit about the fist pump. You know what I mean? So your fist pump, the force in the middle, you know, the electrical symbol was an 11. So that just, I still got my mind on that from last week from data, because that meme is another light bulb moment. It says, and it talks about you're only, what did it go like now? Can't believe I've been talking so long. So that meme, it says, the moment you realise you're just pieces of data carrying information as you go through a circuit system that has been designed to siphon your energy. And how did he do that? Maybe doors, arches, triumphal arches that's still there. That's why I've talked about it. Why do you always see an arch, a random arch? Because it's doing that job. Who's the god of that though? Oh yes, Janus, who's also the janitor, who has the keys to these doors, these arches, controlling the flow. They call him God of Gods. But we'll ignore that. And also, they're always trying to get our data, because data is raw facts about us, our habits. You know what I mean? So, and they call it data processing. So that's just sparked me. Why do these? You don't even have to agree, because like I said, I don't agree with a lot of stuff, but I still put me in my video. So it'd just be nice for these channels to say, oh, God away Janus and arches. I don't believe that, but I can see why people do. It's just giving you guys at home more information and not trying to control the narrative. You know what I mean? And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to control the narrative. And that's why, I don't know why they don't talk about it a lot, because they talk about circuit boards and motherboards. Well, you can see how this influence, and it goes to 11, electric, the realm of and jurisdiction of L. So I have absolutely enjoyed talking. I've been longer than I should have done. I can't believe I've lasted so long. Yes, it's not been so clear, but it's just been an honour and a privilege. I'm just double checking that I've said everything. Yep. And like I said, some of the questions that I wanted to ask and show in the video, it just makes a lot of sense. But again, doesn't make it fact. It just means it makes sense. And that's why we all do have a base. Things affect us generally the same, because obviously they're trying to stop the flow. They're trying to stop our connectivity, not just to the ground, but to the creator from above. So that's why you get both connections. And that's why we used to have a tail. And then because Mother Nature always finds a way, We could do it by grounding, earthing. Then they invented rubber soles and trainers to break that connection. We still connected that way. So what did they do? They brought in fluoride and everything else to calcify, block that up. It's an ongoing battle, and they're trying to beat our wills. And it seems that I've found something that correlates to everything. So if you've enjoyed this video, the Realm of 11 Part 2, and all the things I've put in it and talked about, I could have gone on forever, but obviously I'm not gonna go too long because of my voice. It's been amazing, and I think it's just from the strength of you guys that it's lasted so long. It's an honour and privilege. Thank you for the support. If you've liked the video, please share it. If you want to actually support me, there's Buy Me a Coffee, the links are in there. If you have no money, don't worry about it. Just please share my stuff and get my name and get a channel that you're proud of to watch. Because then more and more people will just see a different perspective. And that's what it should all be about, a different piece of information to the puzzle that some people will help to fill it. So guys, I'll see you in the chat. It'll probably take 10 days to convert. They don't like me, these videos, but hey, what can we do? So remember, stay safe. Always wear a smile. Don't let the bastards grind you down. And take care, guys. The Realm of 11, Part 2.